Good day and welcome, dear friends, dear community, to this week's 6th theme and issue that we're engaging with. So we are considering this week perspective and flexibility. And we've had some conversation about this before. How fixed do we become to our views of the world? There are some principles we have, like justice, anti-racism, climate justice, environmental justice, gender justice, racial justice, social justice. And those principles never change. But sometimes we hold views and opinions, and often it's about others. And that's where often we can become very stuck, or their views and opinions about ourselves. And we can become very stuck in our perspectives to the point where we seek to control narratives and dynamics in ways that may be unhealthy or in ways that still exert power over other people. So the notion here of perspective is, can I identify those areas where my principles and values really, really serve me and this life? And how do I strengthen the conditions that uphold these principles so that I may in fact grow into them even more? And then we may find that there are some perspectives that are really about being attached to or clinging to certain worldviews. For example, heteronormativity, thinking that there are only two genders, and it may be very difficult to expand the view to understand that actually genders have been constructed and repressed. We may think of race as something that is fixed, and of course we know that race is a construct. So there are ways in which we can really drop in to check what are my community values and conditions, and what do they support in relation to personal values and conditions. Remember, we occupy many different communities. And so some communities may sway one way and other communities a different way. So being clear on where do I need to strengthen my resolve and my community's resolve, and where do I need to become more open to growth and exchange and expansion. And this is the area that requires flexibility. So often it can be the case that we find ourselves quite rigid in relation to certain topics or events, and we have very fixed views about them. And sometimes that fixity, that way in which the view is fixed, can actually result in harm, right? Because I end up shouting at people, exercising power over them, not being a helpful agent in bringing about change. And so wherever we can find ourselves needing to grow, needing to educate, to expand, we want to be very honest and truthful with ourselves about what these areas are. And we want to see what the growth possibilities are. So it's helpful to ask questions like, do I believe that if I suffer, good things will come to me? Do I believe that I could become a poster yogi for awesome. We want to keep questioning ourselves about what is it that we desire and that is possible, and what is it that stands in the way. So this notion of flexibility, of course, is something that we speak about when we are working with the body, the physical body in yoga. It's something that we pay attention to in mindfulness. Is it possible to become more flexible, both in the body and the mind? And we believe that being more flexible in the body ought to help the mind. Being more flexible in the mind ought to help the body. But we know that sometimes we can skip a beat and miss a beat, in that we can be quite fixed in our view of things, and we don't even realize the lack of exposure and the lack of education that keeps us stuck. So when we are doing this week's work, it may be helpful to speak to a close friend or a couple of people you are close to check where you are hiding, perhaps, or where you are not seeing things that may be very clear to others. Where are you possibly harboring dis-ease in your system? And where are you needing to grow and make changes? And that then helps us understand the link much better between body and mind, that they are very, very similar. They're very, very similar spaces, almost synonymous. And we potentially can also spread our wings into the subtler aspects and realms of our being. How may I grow? How may I become more open-hearted? How may I cultivate my heart so that even where I disagree, even vehemently with people, I'm still able to see their humanity. This is a big ask in yoga. It's a big way in which we are seeing our own capacities for growth and transformation. And all of it comes to the more secure I feel in myself, the more confident I feel in myself, it becomes possible to believe things that I didn't know I could believe. It becomes possible to turn towards people I didn't know I could turn towards. So as the heart grows, all of these possibilities expand and come into reality. The breath work, the relaxation work today are key in encouraging us to become more expansive in our beings. The posture work, the mindful movement is key in that we are working with the physical body, but also with the subtler bodies to try to release and loosen some of the blockages and congestion within the system. So it is with many, many blessings that we step into this week, and that we support one another and build our community, and remember that we are part of something bigger and something vaster, and that makes our journey all the more precious and important, because we are learning to act communally and collectively, and to grow communally and collectively, which means that potentially more conversations become possible, more topics become easier to address. Wishing you so very well this week with all of the practice that we engage in, and looking so forward to hearing how all of this goes for you and how you encounter issues of flexibility and of perspective. May you be well, may all beings be well. Thank you so much for your attention always. Thank you.